pills. He used to steal all the nice cars just to pay his bills. He said, I'm gonna buy a Porsche before I die. He said, I wanna be a big dog. So I asked why. He said, I pulled into a restaurant on the side of the road. I sat down at the table by the window. I asked a nice waitress for a piece of the pie. She said you don't have to pay for that. And so I asked why. She said, yeah, big dogs eat for free. 'Cause big dogs eat, oh yeah. Big dogs eat for free. 'Cause big dogs eat, yeah. Big dogs eat for free. 'Cause big dogs eat, oh yeah. Big dogs eat for free.
Dreams, they feel real while we're in them, right? It's only when we wake up that we realize something was actually strange. Let me ask you a question. You never really remember the beginning of a dream, do you? You always wind up right in the middle of what's going on.
I guess, yeah.
So how did we end up here?
Well, we just came from the,
Think about it, Ariadne. How did you get here? Where are you right now?
We're dreaming?
You're actually in the middle of the workshop right now, sleeping. This is your first lesson in shared dreaming. Stay calm.
You're tuned into the Real Flat Earth Friday. How are you doing this evening, brother?
Pretty good. I'm glad to be here. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Yeah, flat Earth, plain Earth, you know, not really much going on anymore, huh?
Yeah, Flat Earth Friday. I mean, who even knows what that is anymore? Because where have all the flat earthers gone? Like, we've been here since 2015 and we know all the flat earth content creators and we're subscribed to all the flat earth content creators and there's no content anymore. It's really gone to nothing. What is going on, brother? What do you think?
Don't think there were a lot of serious people that were actually in the movement past 2017. And I think most of them were actually plants. They were pretending to be, they were LARPing, and they were actually fulfilling contracts. And I think their contracts have been pulled.
Yeah, the fake flat earthers, we've called them. Everybody that's promoted a circular single pole pressurized pizza dome, because it was 8 years ago, 8 years ago, that we already knew that that model was impossible. And that's the reason you and I met up, is because we started doing flat earth content going against the pressurized pizza dome, but still saying that, yeah, Earth is a fixed and stationary plane. And the reason why it's a fixed and stationary plane is because it's a virtual reality. So that's just the shape of the floor. It's just a part of being a virtual reality. You do it on a flat plane as opposed to a curved surface, right?
Yeah, so it didn't take long for us to figure out, you especially already questioning reality as its materialistic nature. And with being a Christian and understanding how supernatural things take place and miracles, and understanding basically that this earthly, understanding is nothing like what we were taught. The whole heliocentric Big Bang cosmology was made up on materialistic atomism. And the entire thing is a joke. And the whole thing hinges on the fact that they need the Earth to be a sphere spinning around a sun that exploded through this explosion, flying through an infinite, endless universe. And it was fitting that they had a quote-unquote pastor who was the one who decided to try to debunk it, simply by stating, just because if you go to this one spot in the realm and the sun circles above you, you're upside down, flying, hurtling through space on the bottom of an absolutely materialistic sphere Earth, where all logic, all reason, all geometry, and all properties and mechanics of water have to be just thrown out the door. And they'll say, well, the God I serve definitely could make the Earth a sphere and water stick to it while flying through infinite outer space. They've got all the stupid excuses and responses all figured out, all staged, all planned. When this place was created, it had to be created in such a way that you couldn't just figure it out like that. It's if you can understand that you're in a cage, you basically ruin the understanding of the whole entire evolution of mankind from Adam till today. It had to take place in such a way where you always had to further the reach and the exploration. And once man did sail to the outer reaches of the Earth, it did lead them to conclude, because they didn't find a wall, they did start to believe, because the objects in the sky were spherical, that they thought themselves were also living on a sphere, right? Just because you have a borderless reality that's contained does not necessarily demand that you're on a sphere, because after you make that assumption that because we didn't hit a wall and we went north, east, south, and west, and we came back to where we started from, if you don't then start testing the properties of the things around you, like water and the mechanics of it, and not just that at rest, water can be used as a leveling tool to create things perfectly perpendicular, right, to the horizon, perfectly flat. But also you start to see supernatural things take place, like the way the luminaries are locked and rotate around each observer. And then you start to go even a step further, and you start we're getting cameras and drones, and we're able to film double and triple sunsets, and we're able to find clouds in front of and behind the sun at the same time, rainbows with clouds in front of and behind them, stars underneath clouds. We started filming these things, and we started finding the glitches in the virtual reality. And when you put all those things together, you have to come up with a different model. Like if there is curvature, we could find it. If water was sticking to the sphere of Earth, we could replicate it. And all we've been able to do is to independently research, verify, and repeat the things that we've been able to find. And we've had to stand upon those things as true, me and Jason. And that's why we're set apart from everybody else in the Earth. And not because we're special. All we are is just two guys that looked for some truth and were willing to follow the evidence of that truth to anywhere that it took us, without making any dogmatic assumptions based upon things that we wanted to be true. Neither one of us need it to be a virtual reality. We don't care. If it's a sphere in outer space, it's a sphere in outer space, right? We just want the truth. And that's why I'm here. And that's why you're here. And that's why we're never going to quit. We're never going to give up. It's 2025 and we still don't have a 24-hour shot of the earth spinning. Could you imagine all of the science and all of the amazing technology, the way they could track and prepare people for storms if they were able to have a 24-hour feed 7 days a week, 365 days a year of the earth from the moon? Could you imagine, Jason, that we supposedly landed on the moon, but we don't have a camera pointed at our house? It's like, how many people do you think, Jason, own Ring cameras? How many people do you think have a camera pointed at their house right now? Yet we're to believe that we live in Earth that's a sphere that's spinning with a moon spinning around it, and we've never set up a camera to face our own planet Earth?
I think every single person that has the internet probably has a Ring camera now. I see them everywhere. And then they've got all the cameras inside the house as well. And then they've got the Roomba that's got the camera on them. And then they walk around filming themselves. Yeah, it's there's cameras everywhere. So all the things that you just mentioned, when you know the Bible, and then you know that the Bible says that there's going to be a group of people that fall for a grand delusion, it all of a sudden just absolutely clicks in your head when you understand that Earth was made in a way where this grand delusion, this grand deception could take place. And it's all about the rotation of the stars around the observer and the way we move throughout a coordinate system. Now, we're not going to have the time tonight to go through all the proofs that we're in a virtual reality, but the clouds behind the sun rising and setting into Earth in a fixed and stationary plane. If you sit down and you look at the actual degrees per second that the sun is moving, it gives you the altitude, the azimuth, and you follow that projection and it comes down and it goes into Earth. And then you see that exact same rotational speed as it goes around the observer under the Earth, and then it comes back up through that plane that the observer is on. Now, this takes place at every latitude except north or south of 66.5 degrees. Everywhere else, the sun is rising and setting into Earth. And the only way that can happen is if we're in a virtual reality. If the sun's 800,000 miles wide in diameter, 93 million miles away, it can't be rising and setting from Earth with clouds behind it in the background. So all these things are very easy ways for us to be able to prove that we're in a virtual reality. There's a lot of speculation going on now. There's a lot more talk. I think we are sort of, even though the numbers don't reflect it here, I think we are breaking through with the morphic resonance, and we are having an effect, because now all of a sudden you hear it in the truther headlines and the news headlines and all these things on a much more frequent basis now, where people are talking about, well, they'll call it a simulation. They'll say we're in the matrix or a simulation. They don't ever call it what it really is a virtual reality.
Yeah.
This is a real world, but we are consciousness. We are spirits that are in avatar suits in a virtual reality. And there's a lot of ways to prove it. The Bible describes that type of world. I'm sorry, but in order to have day and night on day one of creation, and then the luminaries, the sun, moon, and stars, wandering stars on day 4, it doesn't work in the atomistic materialistic reality. So that could only happen, and it is the way it would happen if Earth was a virtual reality. And then you take all the miracles, and then you take all these things like reincarnation and all these different things like that. They all fit with being in a virtual reality. The way things break down to the pixel, not to the atom. Yeah, all these factors, but yeah, all the people that have been supporting the fake flat Earth, we'll go through and we're going to bring up all the popular names that we can think of, the people that were in the narrative doing content, and we're going to check and see what they're doing now, how long it's been, and there's probably a big event coming up. And that event, in my opinion, is going to be the release of that mockumentary that Will Doofus is a part of, with the final false dichotomy, right?
Let's be a little bit more careful or descriptive with our take on what is going to be done. So the mockumentary that they filmed was called Behind the Curve, right? That was created with Mark Sargent and Patricia Steer. This one here, they went a different approach. So what they did was they realized that the last one wasn't enough to stop people from believing in the scriptures and the earth being flat and a stationary plane. And they've decided to use a pastor, right, who just took over the pastoral duties due to the fact that the person that was leading the church basically was an anti-you-know-what, and he was actively fighting against flat earth and, against what they were saying everybody was getting. And he died and passed away due to that. So Will stepped up, took over for that congregation. And then he was the one who decided that he was going to somehow, all of a sudden, this guy's got like millions of dollars of lawsuits out against him, but he's now going to invest, $500,000 or $200,000 or maybe more. If we were to estimate how much time Will Duffy spent creating content on other people's content, making videos, we're talking a lot of money and a lot of time, if money is his time. So he got together two groups of people, supposedly people who believed the earth was a flat. They were all purposely created after, except for Jaron, who we actively stated was a fake flat earther, LARPing to set flat earth up to fail. And one other character who they brought out was Witsit Gets It. They brought him out just after the whole, pandemic. So they brought him out, and he was this supposed genius kid, anti-Semite that's not anymore, apparently. They brought him, Jaron, and someone else that showed up from some other website called Clubhouse, and they went there with supposedly people who believed the earth was a sphere, right? You had the other side who were another character who was brought in after the pandemic was Dave McKeegan. He was a film expert, camera guy, and he became, Ball Earth advocate. They brought him. MC Toon was actively one of the most toxic characters in the debate. They brought him, and he was given a major channel from another toxic Ball Earth character who quit, and they went to Antarctica, and they went as a team, and through fighting and stage scripted fights, and they didn't want to be on camera, they end up proving in their minds that due to this observation that the earth is a sphere, and they're going to be all, giving, they use the word God glory. They're going to be cheering. It's not going to be a mockumentary. It's going to be them actually going there, doing the observation. And the funny thing is that long before they ever came out, Jason and I were the only flat earthers who said, yes, the sun does circle around the observer in Antarctica. That doesn't change the fact that the earth is fixed and stationary. It's the sun moving around an observer based on latitude and longitude. We were the ones been saying that. And so they're going to have this documentary come out. The first time it's ever documented that they filmed the 24-hour sun in Antarctica, right? There's never been one in the Arctic, but now we're going to have this one. And there will be more discussion about the flat earth versus ball earth debate take place after this. But we still see a large number of people like David Weiss. He's still active. He's one of the only characters that's still active. So I was brought into the flat earth by a guy named A4. His name was Adam. He was kicked off YouTube for exposing his private parts while threatening to kill somebody. He was the one who came and told me that earth was flat and it was covered with cobwebs, and he had a Freemason ring, and he literally went insane, right? He was the first one in late 2013, early 2014 who told me that earth was flat. And then it was another character, Matrix Decode, that actually came to me in a group and showed me that he was getting censored because his argument was unbeatable, that earth was fixed, flat, and immovable. And so since then, there was a great amount of people that became flat earthers, and they started following what is called the AE map and model, the quote unquote, they've made it the flat earth map, flat earth model. And Jason and I met because the two of us were actively fighting against it since 2016. And what they've done is they've tied the Bible. They've tried everything they can to tie the earth being flat to a discreditable model. It's called the ultimate straw man false dichotomy experiment. They only gave two possible ways that we could be living in this reality. And that was both a physical, material, atomistic world, one being flat with everything circling above your head, and the one being a sphere with it spinning around with everything around it, right? So we were trying to tell them that the third option was that you're in a virtual reality, one that the Bible describes right from the inception to the creation, from the forethought right up until this very day. And you did an excellent job, Jason. Well, having Will Duffy on, showing him that he was promoting a false dichotomy and that he needed to accept that there was another possibility for reality, a non-materialistic biblical one. And he basically attacked you, tried to mock you, lied, said that he called the guy that you were sharing the model from, and that guy told him that it was ball Earth, and he just lied, and then he wouldn't answer your questions and said there wasn't going to be a documentary, and here we are. 2025, will it come out? See, I'm starting to wonder, Jason, if it didn't get canned because it's just garbage, because they picked garbage people to do it.
It is possible. I mean, you would think if they went through all this work and it got so much attention, it was in the headlines, that they would release it, but maybe it turned out that it was so bad that they won't even release it.
So just before I end my rant, Jaron Campanella and me, so I was a flat earther a little bit before he showed up. Okay. He showed up and instantly his channel had 15,000 subscribers before anybody in the flat earth knew who he was. He started doing experiments. I was sharing it. I was friends with him. We talked on Skype. You know, I had this dream, me, him, Bob Nodell. We all had a huge celebration. It was this victory party. And, you know, I thought everything was good. And slowly but surely, I started to realize that Jaron was a dishonest man, right? He was doing experiments. He wasn't pre-testing them. He was purposely failing. And I called him out on it. And he lied to me. And then I called him out on the map and model that he was sharing. I showed him, hey, man, the sun is rising south of east and setting south of west. That means that the sun is circling off of your model. And basically he told me, no, Ron, you're retarded. It's coffee cup caustic and all these different things. And yeah, you know, follow the sunlight after the sun sets. And for 8 long years, he mocked, ridiculed, and tried to make everybody in the community hate me. Jason, you actually talked to Jaron and David Weiss before we met and showed him that on the equinox, the sun rises due east and sets due west, and that's an actual straight path. So that was my thing. I mean, like, due east, due west, that's a straight line. It can't be doing circles. I'm like, get out of here. Half of the year, it's circling off of their model, not going anywhere where it would be needed. And twice a year on their model, the sun's actually just going straight. And Jason and I were arguing for these things, and that's how we met. And that's when you asked me, had you ever really thought that your worldview could be a virtual one, and that, you know, we are in this reality reincarnating? And then we were both into the Bible and scriptures, and we wanted to learn more. And we've been on a path now of research and study ever since then. And we seem to be the only two that started with an objection of straight truth, and we're the only two that are still up here fighting each and every week. We've proven that we've done it without monetization. We've never been paid. We're not here to get any money. We're not selling anything. We've been mocked, ridiculed, kicked out of the community. We've been called cult leaders. Everything you could possibly imagine. I've been called a Benedict Arnold. I was supposedly going to throw you under the bus, right, Jason? I was going to take you down.
But look at who's the Benedict Arnold. That would be Jared. He was the one that flipped. He went traitor, right?
Yeah, him and John LeBon were both saying that I was the Benedict Arnold because I threw them under the bus because they were liars and disinformation agents. So here we are in 2025, and we've been corrected. We've improved. We've made mistakes. We're not infallible, perfect, all-knowing beings. We're just two carpenters that want to figure things out, and that's what we're passionate about. We love new music. We got a small, powerful team. We got YD in the chat as our moderator. We got the Goldsmith digging out the music and the gold and the content all the time, helping us. We get by. You know, we may not be out here like 3-4 times a week, but we're steady. We try to get at least 4 or 5 podcasts in a month. I do a morning podcast show every single Sunday called The Rise and Grind, where we talk about spirituality, gardening. I go through all of the headlines, all of the week's news that we want you to truly understand the ins and outs of. We read between the lines. We get brand new music. We put out at least 10 to 15 brand new songs each and every week. Not old stuff, new stuff. We're constantly pushing the boundaries with graphics, personality wise. We're always trying to uplift other people in the community and keep everybody honest. Jason and I, if Jason says something that I don't agree with, I tell him, hey, I don't agree with that. If I say something that he doesn't agree with, he goes, hey, that's not true. And we do the same thing with every other content creator. And that's why we're probably, Jaron likes to think he's the most hated, but I think we're the most hated guys on YouTube.
Maybe in the whole world.
If we're not, we certainly will be soon enough.
We're working at it. Yeah, all the models that give accurate data. So we're talking SunCalc, we're talking Stellarium, we're talking Andrew Marsh, all the 3D models that give altitude and azimuth data accurate to 100th of a degree per second. They are all virtual reality models. They all have the sun rising from a fixed and stationary plane and setting into that fixed and stationary plane. So we're not going anywhere. We're always going to be plane earthers. We're always going to be sharing the models that we've been sharing for the last 7 years. We're always going to be doing that aspect of it, but that we're not a one-trick pony. We're not just here to talk about the shape of the floor of this reality. So if you look in the description box, there's 10 fundamental truths that we stand on. Shape of the earth is just number one. That's just the opener. The second is how the pressurized pizza dome, the single pole, is a false dichotomy, and that it's here in order to try to tarnish the Bible and to mock flat earth. So we were able to put that was in the summer of 2017 that we put the first 4 fundamental truths in the description boxes. The third one having to do with earth being a virtual reality. We knew that atoms were fake and never proven, just ancient Greece philosophy, atomism. Pythagoreans came up with that kind of crap. Fourth fundamental truth we stand on, the very most important one, is actually the true names of the Creator in Christ. And so we talk about all these other things, the other fundamental truths, because all we're doing is we're just trying to share as much truth as we can until the Great Tribulation comes. And then judgment's coming for the whole world. So every person's going to end up being judged based on everything that you've done, said, thought your entire lifetime and all the lifetimes that you've had before this. So the people that just do the fake flat earth, now that the final false dichotomy has taken place, I mean, their job's sort of done. They were here to try to just pump this up, say that it's biblical, so that when Will Doofus goes down to Antarctica, that everybody, oh yeah, it's a globe, and the Bible was wrong all along. So we just keep going until the Great Tribulation gets here, right?
Yeah, because when we actually look at once you actually investigate the truth that these characters are saying that are the biblical ones, like Fartzoid, or what is he? Fartality now. They're always changing their names. They're always doing crazy stuff. These guys, they'll come and tell you that the earth is flat and there's a dome over it, and it says it in the Bible. And you go and look, and it says that the birds, the sun, the moon, all the stars move throughout the dome. They'll tell you, no, that means solid dome, and it means vast expanse. The glory of the Creator, his handiwork, his artwork is shown in the sky, not in the dome. We can't see any dome, right? They'll tell you that the sun circles, it never sets. It's 3,000 miles out. We'll show you evidence that we filmed where the sun is literally setting into the ground, rising up out of the ground, literally.
And I want to throw in another example. Mount Everest, 30,000 feet tall, farthest it can be seen from 125 miles. You really think that you can see a 3,000 mile high dome or more? Get out of here. You can't, right? The longest physical observation. The fact that we still don't have footage, right, of the earth spinning. The highest altitude we have, we can only discern 50 to 60 miles, maybe 100 miles distance. That's discernible.
the way that Earth breaks down to a pixel, the way that you can't fine tune, the way that you need to, when you try to investigate something, if it's real, you will find that it's real. If you can't discern true information, you find out that it's because you're in a virtual reality. And you had said earlier, Jason, I know we're probably going to segue soon into a few of the things. It shouldn't be too long of a podcast. But so you'll have characters out here that'll tell you that they're in a video game, right? But why is it that people can't understand that you are in an avatar suit? Your conscience, your spirit is what is real, right? And you're living a life here, and there's a clock speed. So in the scriptures, it says a day is 1,000 years in heaven, and heavenly place is something that's immaterial, right? It's another layer of creation. But for now, what you need to understand is this life that you're on has a set amount of time, and we get so many things that we can do and so many choices, and we can go around and investigate our reality. And now that you've got on the screen here, this is the most accurate model of reality that you can actually have. Nobody else can slap this model onto a sphere Earth. Nobody else can take this, because what you have is an observer with a circle of sight, with the sun rotating around that observer. It's to 100th of a degree per second. It shows the luminary of the sun, the great sun, rising up out of the ground, rising above you, and then setting into the ground. And no matter where you drag your cursor on the map here, over any coordinate system you want to design on the left here, this one they've gone with the classic Mercator projection, but there's many different projections that you can put it on as long as you have your coordinate system, which Allah does help understand that you're in a virtual reality. So here you can see the flat plane of the Earth as the sun rises. Jason's got it circling. Jason, it's interesting how this is the one that you can input your home to, and you can actually check the shadows. So if you were going to put solar panels in, this program here where Earth is depicted as a flat plane with the sun rising up out of the ground and setting into the ground is the one that the solar panel companies would actually use to learn where to put your property and how to place the windows and the solar panels. You want to turn my camera off? I think it's freezing. Muted. You're muted. I don't know how you got muted, but yeah, we'll leave me off for a bit. It's still glitchy. Keep going, please. Continue with that statement.
Yeah, we had somebody bring up how does the sun get back to its starting position? And the reason why I brought this up is to show that it never stops rotating around the observer. It rotates around the observer 15 degrees per hour all the time. It never stops. The sun has the exact same speed going around the observer all the time. And all the models show the sun rising from a plane and setting into a plane. If you don't like this one, let's go to SunCalc real quick. All right, where do you want to go? Let's go to Texas. And here we have our time of day slider. So here is the sun rising from the plane, all right, and then going around and setting into the plane. And this doesn't just play like the Andrew Marsh does, but it's the exact same continuous speed around the observer, rising from a flat plane and setting into that plane. Now, I absolutely cannot put this in any position where it's not rising from Earth and setting into Earth, but this is not how far we can see the sun. Like I said earlier, the farthest Mount Everest has been seen from a position on Earth is 125 miles. So if we start zooming down in here, the actual, let's get to Austin area. So this is an area that we're familiar with. And yeah, you can't see this far. Gotta zoom in farther. Right about here. So if you come out and you watch the sunrise, sun rose just a little bit beyond Pflugerville, right? And you come out and the sun sets and it's setting out by Marble Falls. And that's into a plane. The same is true with Stellarium, all the tools. So the path is always the exact same speed, rotating around the observer, rising from the plane that you're on and setting into the plane that you're on. The distance that you can see is based on the height of the observer and other things like air quality, you know, humidity and rain, fog, all that kind of stuff. All right, you want to come back on camera or you want to stay off? I can just keep going if you want.
I don't think it's working. I'm freezing.
What is,
it's really freezing on my end here a lot.
yeah?
Yeah, keep going, please.
All right, well, I'm not going to just
What?
hang on.
You got it. Okay, do what you want.
I'll hide too.
I'm not hiding. It's freezing on me. It's absurd. Okay, here we go.
Let's talk about all the people that have quit first. And then we'll get into we'll take a song break and then we'll get into the doofus crossing Antarctica thing. So start giving me some names of people that were flat earth content
Nachiketa.
creators.
Let's go with Nachiketa first.
Nachiketa Fire.
Where did he go? Did he completely take his channel down?
Yeah, if we look for channel,
His channel's gone.
his channel is gone.
His channel's not showing up anymore. That's crazy, right?
No more Nachiketa, huh?
He's gone. Then we got Z, Zetetic Warrior. He said that him and Nachiketa were going to hold everybody to the fire and, you know, they're going to expose everybody. What's he doing? When's he done anything live?
Let's see. His last live was
3 weeks ago. Okay.
3 weeks
About
ago.
a month almost, right? Almost a month now.
Videos 3 weeks ago. So it's getting close to a month. He's done nothing. How about some other people?
Who do we have?
Well, let me show you everybody Jeranism, because
he's back tonight now, finally.
he's live right now. But if you look at what he's been up to,
gone.
yeah, it's
he almost was off for 3 weeks.
yeah, there was this 6 days ago, 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, members only. He's really not putting out the content anymore. Videos. Yeah, 13 days ago.
Not much.
Not much. How about another flat earth content creator?
See, we're starting to get low. The only people that were really doing it was you had what's his name? Flatzoid,
Fartzoid.
but has changed his name to Fartality.
Creality.
Fartality.
Jesus saves.
Yeah. AJ. Yeah, you got Fartality. Jesus saves. Changed his name. What's he doing? It's got him. Let's see what he's doing. I'm here. Ask me anything. So
so none of this is flat Earth anymore. You've got haters. I forgive you. Is the Bible factual or accurate?
Yeah.
Satan's little season.
He's basically just gone into this weird Christian and what they do is they put forth all of the bad Christian arguments now. It's really so inverted. This guy has been one of the grossest content creators I've ever seen. And so he's completely pivoted away, and he'll say that the Trinity is true, but the Trinity is three different people, right? And then he'll say that they're all one at the same time. So he's got such hypocritical information. So he's not doing anything for flat Earth. Who else do we have?
Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks that he's done any flat Earth.
There's the only person that's still doing anything is David Weiss, the Flat Earth Dave, or Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, Didra, however you want to say his name.
So Mark Sargent, that show is basically just more pop culture. They don't really do flat Earth anymore.
They've had a few guests on that went into some, fringe, like that Joe Hanvey guy. He does like obscure, like as far out there, crazy, trying to make the AE single pole pressurized pizza dome work stuff. And that's as much into the flat Earth as they get.
Yeah, they've got a regular weekly show, but they don't really talk about flat Earth anymore. No. DITRH.
He's making content still. I think it's Flat Earth Dave though.
It's all the TikTok type stuff. His flat Earth, his DITRH is
dead. No, but it
is.
No, he constantly puts up a flow of information. He's never going to give up. It's actually his life investment now, right? With the Flat Earth app. And
who else is there? Globebusters.
So there's they still do content. That's for sure. But it's not the same characters. It's Cammie Nodell and Bob's best friend. They're still together and they do the show now. And they bring in Alan and what's the other guy's name? The Aether Cosmologists. They do their weekly podcast every week. So there you go. There's one crew. Globebusters is still going, albeit it's a completely different cast of characters. Witsit Gets Shit isn't even on there anymore. How about let's go to Witsit? Witsit Gets It. We just seen him on a podcast with David Weiss and two rabbis. I kid you not. He's got some weird, everybody's doing these weird AI cartoon versions of themselves. So 2 weeks ago, he did What Your Doctor Doesn't Understand. So he's completely gone.
No flat Earth. No
for a
flat
long time,
Earth.
right? But he's got a reason. He went and he supposedly proved Earth's a sphere, right? So
it was, you have to go all the way back to 3 months ago where he says the Earth is not flat after all.
Yeah, then you got somebody put in the chat. Yeah, Alonzo, Flat Earth University. We haven't seen him since he was selling Flat Earth Experiment, shirts and hats and stuff with their logo on it.
Yeah, and
he made the documentaries, Flirfs on Ice and Glurfs on Ice or whatever. So what's his channel? Yeah, Flat Earth University, but I don't even think that was his name. That's Mark Sargent and Flatman X. Were the Flat Earth University guys.
Oh, it does come up. That's Alfonso or whatever.
Stephen Alonzo.
So
he's 5 months ago for his home, but live 2 months.
2 months. 2 months
he
ago.
Did that ridiculous debate where he just looked like an absolute. It was horrible. It was horrible. So who else do we have? There's
anybody from the chat that's got any ideas of anybody that's
there was the characters that were on Jeranism's show. He had what was that guy's name? Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind.
Yeah.
You got Karen B. Who else do you got? Apparently the Tim Osman is throwing a Truther conference, right? So what's he doing Tuesday?
Yeah, so
back from the Gulag, Friday night special.
Yeah, and I'm not seeing
no flat Earth content.
4 weeks ago, they say that the globe is dead, but
a month ago.
Yeah.
Then there was that other guy that he had on his crew. Then you got Lowry's channel, right? Lowry, the guy that.
Does he have a channel?
Yeah, I think it's called Tinfoil Hat Sombrero.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, we know Nathan Thompson's doing his, he just drives around in his motorhome. He calls himself the Enoch of TikTok. It's pretty.
Oh, he's got hilarious. The 777, just like
Rose.
Aleister Crowley, right?
And Rose. Yeah, it's Aleister Crowley's 777 laws, right? The Kabbalistic Talmudism.
Yeah, it jumps back to a few weeks ago. It seems like about 3 weeks ago, all the fake flat earthers really put the brakes on and stop making fake flat earth content.
Yeah, it's true.
Any
Not like
other names?
they weren't really making good ones. Nathan Oakley still does his thing.
Yeah. Fallacy.
Yeah, he's well, his book's coming out. We will have him on the podcast. Hopefully we don't have to pay him. Apparently people have to pay Nathan to have him on. But we'll see if his flat earth book comes out. We'll definitely get that and read it and be doing, telling people what we get out of it. So
Yeah,
Karen B, she got members only, huh?
She's got members only. It's capped out a couple weeks.
She hasn't done flat earth for years.
No.
Her podcasts are just her putting her makeup on and crying.
Bigfoot
she just cries. She doesn't want to do it. She cries. She gets all upset.
Loses it.
Yeah, that's Karen B. She lost it a couple times this last year. It was pretty funny. On Sovereign Soul, their own teammates, right? You got Eric Dubay.
Oh, okay.
Dubaz. He's doing the Earth is a soul trap, right? That's his thing, and we're all like, he's gonna tell the creator to go F himself.
Yeah. So what he's doing is he's reposting interviews that he did
10 years ago.
Yeah,
close to 10 years.
Is it really 10?
That one with Berwick. Berwick looks like he's in his 30s. Berwick's 55 now. The one below that, if you hover over it, down left. Jeff Berwick right there. Jeff doesn't look like that anymore, ladies and gentlemen. Eric doesn't have long hair and he doesn't live in Soy Boy, Thailand anymore. So yeah, Eric's reposting his content from 10 years ago with a little bit better graphics, maybe in some cases. King
Maybe.
Nico. Let's go to King Nico now. He's off doing go-kart racing in Canada, letting other people win too. There's the guy. Culture Cats is the guy that gave his channel to MC Toon, who people call Mick Toon. His name's Michael Toon. I don't think his last name's Toon either, but that was the channel that gave it to him. Conspiracy Cats was like a almost verified channel that he just gave to Michael 1 month ago. He did.
Yeah, he was done like a month ago.
He was so gross when we investigated this guy. He had all that really flagrant anti-biblical stuff all over his channels. It was really bad. He's got Richie from Boston. There's Bro Sanchez, but he's not doing flat earth. He never was a flat earther. He was always just like we said to him, "You Satanist." He said, "Yeah, I respect that you guys call me that. Yeah, I am a Satanist," he said. Remember?
That's what he said.
He got me with Jaron. He got me with Bob Nodell. He did allow us to get our voices heard, though. Yeah, he's doing CERN, Schumann, Resonance, The Flower of Life, American Negro.
It was like 3 weeks ago, month ago, when everybody was talking about the all-female space crew, right?
Yeah, that was the last thing that everybody pretty much, after the Jeff Bezos, Katy Perry, and space thing, everybody just quit.
That was about it.
There's last one we can go to before a song break. You got Shane St. Pierre. What's his channel? Is it called Shane St. Pierre?
I think so.
He does Flat Earth Fridays, right? He should be live, yeah. Let's click on it. Let's see if they're talking about Flat Earth live. Aether Cosmology. You can't, you gotta unmute it.
With mass attracting mass, or three body problems being solved to predict the motion of 3D bodies in space.
So it's a great thing to jump onto. Nobody has ever proven, this is an argument that we've been putting forth. Okay, Jaron, if you're so smart and you think that Earth is a ball spinning around the sun and that gravity's real, how come we've never seen anything be sucked towards a mountain, right? Why has a car never been attracted to a mountain? Why has there never been any proof, no evidence, nothing ever measured or witnessed, that due to its mass alone was able to attract something of a lesser mass to itself? The only thing we've ever seen is magnetic properties like that. And in some cases, the smaller magnets can pull things way larger. Therefore, we would be sucked right into the sun if this were the truth, right? So
the three body problem is a real problem for all the globe earthers. Jaron knew about it before. He talked about the 3-body problem. Now he doesn't want to talk about the 3-body problem because
Yes.
it debunks his entire model.
So
The three.
yeah, absolutely. The 3-body problem is a very big one. So at least, unfortunately, the sad thing is that Shane St. Pierre and Aether Cosmology, the guy that he works with, they're still super addicted to the pressurized anti-biblical pizza dome, right? That's what they're into. That's the model they push is a single pole pressurized pizza dome. They say you can't have pressure without a barrier, and they go on and on and on, and they just push nothing but dismiss and malinformation. And it's sad because these guys seem to be like intelligent enough that they should be starting to grasp the fact that they're in a supernatural virtual reality. So there's 2 more names that we've got: Jake the Asshole and QN Fee. I haven't seen either one of them doing much. QN Fee doesn't do flat earth proof videos anymore. And Jake, the last time I seen him do one, he was going around saying that he was in a virtual reality, right? But he was the one that figured it out for sure.
Yeah. So if you look back through what he's got
Those
here,
thumbnails. Click on the first one again. Look at this guy. He's such a cool. What is that? He's the guy that tells you that Earth is flat.
you can pay him to do that too.
That's how you get him to do that. You got to pay him.
Nano poison. So all the shills, the nano is nonsense. There's nothing on the nano scale that's perceivable. Look at it. He's got matrix stuff up here, but no, absolutely not a virtual reality, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it goes back to the Katy Perry, Jeff Bezos rocket thing like a month ago.
Yeah, that's the only thing that anyone's done.
Yep. No. Yeah, Diddy trial. Month ago he's going against Jaron, and then QN B has
He's been going after Jaron a lot.
he did an AI song for Jaron,
Couple
of them. Yeah, but it's been like over a month, and he doesn't do any flat earth proof content.
No.
All he does is just mock people.
Well, some people really deserve it, I guess,
Mhm.
but I don't want to enable or do your thing, QNF. You know where we're at.
Yeah, we'll be proving the Earth is a plane while you're doing whatever you do.
Yeah, that's what's up. And we will be getting back into more, investigative, informative podcasts coming up in the future too. This one was just about touching base and seeing, where the YouTube community was. Now there's Twitter, there's TikTok, there's other platforms now where people are investigating reality too. So we're just giving you a YouTube rundown tonight.
Little snapshot.
Yeah. So should we do our break?
Yeah, let's take a break, and then we'll come back and get into the Antarctica crossing that Doofus is pushing.
It won't take long, so don't go far, people.
We are back.
And we're back. And this topic, okay, crossing Antarctica was one of the reasons why we made the fundamental truths, right? Especially fundamental truth number 2.
Yeah. Yeah, it goes back all the way to really as soon as Ron and I met each other, because one of the popular flat earthers back at that time was Matt Powerland.
Yes.
Have you seen what he's doing now?
Yeah. I mean, we didn't check up on him, but I don't know if we want to. So he had these good videos that he created. He had a little bit of talent called The Crazy Notion. And in this Crazy Notion, he called himself the NASA channel, which he obviously lost, but he has backup channels. In The Crazy Notion, he came up with this idea that he would have 4 different teams. They would all enter in Antarctica from different spots and cross it. And what he said was, if he got to the other side of Antarctica, the Earth would be a sphere. We were like, hold on. Hey, hold on. Red flag. I mean, lots of people have crossed it, sailed around it, right? Well, we've been saying for almost a decade now, right, is that Antarctica is an island. Southern regions of the flat earth plane. You absolutely can cross it, circumnavigate it clearly, right? So first they went down there and they showed that the sun supposedly circled above their head, which it looked like it did, which our model predicted. And that does not prove that we're underneath the bottom of this so-called sphere. So they did that experiment. Now they're talking about, I guess Will's just saying it has been crossed. They're not actually going to cross it because it's been done so many times, right?
Yeah, it happens all the time. Like people do it solo by themselves. Come on. I mean, it's really not that big of a challenge anymore. So he's going all the way back to the beginning with the Matt Powerland proof. And it's been so loaded because you have the Dirty David Weiss, and all these different characters that have said that if you can cross Antarctica,
let's see that. Let's play those clips. Can you find that?
Yeah.
So what you're saying basically, because he plays it a bunch of times. So you had the same characters starting with Jaren saying that if there's a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, the Earth is a ball. You've had the exact same characters. Eric Dubé, Dave Murphy, who was a piss drinker. Most of these guys here too that you're going to see, they all advocated for drinking urine. Right, which is gross, toxic, and just disgusting. We're against that.
Pat Steer,
actively. Antonio Subarats, all these guys. But here we go. Let's show this one clip.
And if done, would end the debate over the shape of the Earth.
But what is just a fact is that what would prove the globe is to circumnavigate north to south, go over Antarctica, and pop back up on the other side of a ball. What's illegal to do is freely and privately explore Antarctica and try to go over the continent and pop back up on the other side of the ball, and no one's ever done it.
I say, why do they lie about the globe? Because everything that would prove the globe, they have to lie about. Like, hey, let's circumnavigate across Antarctica. Let's go from Santiago, Chile, across Antarctica and end up in Australia or New Zealand. And it's never been done.
You can check for yourself on all these flights. If the Earth was really a ball and they can survive the cold of outer space, they should be able to fly a straight route across Antarctica.
Other than
Eric had
maybe
a
the
beard?
24-hour sun, I would
Wow.
I didn't know you could grow face hair.
maybe go to see the alleged 24-hour sun, which no one ever sees. But no, not you would have to be able to go over the actual continent, right? And like you can't. So I just find that weird. I mean, because if you could just go over Antarctica and pop back up on the other side of the ball and then continue back to where you started, that would just end the debate for good. And conveniently enough, it's a
I don't know how many more of these are. Wait, there's more. Let's let it finish. Forgive me.
legal to do that.
The only thing I do know is that nothing flies over the South Pole because, again, on a flat map, the South Pole, the continent of Antarctica, is
so
the ring
gross.
around the Earth. So you can't fly over the ring
Pause it.
and get any.
So this guy here, Dave Murphy, is one of the most disgusting people that ever entered into the debate. All he did was fill people with dismiss and malinformation. He literally drank his piss on videos whether or not it was apple juice or something else, we don't know. But he did, and he tried to get.
He did.
He tried to get other people to do it. Him and Pat. Just in the morning when you're in your first shower, or you just they tried to. It was like the most disgusting thing, Jason, you could ever imagine. They're biblical haters, Christ haters, right? This guy, he did a seething antichrist at one of the Flat Earth conferences. Do you remember? It wasn't that long ago either. They flew him in. He did one of the most disgusting. Him and Santos Bonacci. These guys are some of the most disgusting characters. And so they had an agenda. They were pushing this fake model that you see on the screen.
False dichotomies right here.
False dichotomy.
Fake flat earth and fake spinning baller.
Yeah, the two options only, because that's the way they control the narrative, is they never give you the third one, that you live in a supernatural, virtual, biblical reality. Virtual, right? So they were pushing all this disinformation. They were saying that you can't cross Antarctica. And, it's crazy how play it a little bit more. I'll finish my line. There's only a little bit.
That's why we're not allowed to go there.
And no one has ever gone across Antarctica from Santiago.
Dave's the infinite ponders. He doesn't go with the pressurized pizza dome because he wants infinite ponds.
And ended up in New Zealand or Australia. Nobody has ever done that. Okay. But nobody crosses Antarctica. You want to put flat earth to bed? Fly directly across Antarctica from Santiago to Australia.
Planes aren't even allowed to fly over Antarctica anymore.
Mark.
Not even close. They've been banned. They've been banned since the 70s.
I think it's also weird that we've never flown over Antarctica.
You can't fly across Antarctica if we're right. If the globe is right, you can fly across.
On a ball, Antarctica's an ice cap on the bottom. All you'd have to do to prove the Earth's a ball.
What is Witsit doing here?
He's dressed. He's doing the
PA system to nobody.
Yeah, well, he's doing wearing a lab coat too. So this has to be tied to one of the conferences with Bob Nodell.
And a toucan.
Well, Yamaka. I mean,
flat earther up is fly over Antarctica and pop back up on the other side. That's impossible on a flat Earth.
So
it's called north to south circumnavigation. Never been done in the history of mankind.
It absolutely, again, so all these characters that you're seeing on the screen here that Will Duffy is showing. So what we proved was something that Math Powerland shared with everybody. So they had his thesis and the different antitheses and all these different ideas were that this information works like this. You have something that you want to protect, right? You want people to believe they live on a sphere. So what you do is you create the flat earth movement and you set it up with an argument that's easily defeatable. So what they did was they said that you can't go to Antarctica and see the 24-hour sun above your head. And if you can, that there proves globe. And they did this knowing that you absolutely can fly to Antarctica and see the sun circle above your head. They're saying, if you can fly across Antarctica, the Earth is a globe. And if you can't, then the Earth is flat. They create a false dichotomy where they have the controlled answer, which is, yes, we know you can cross the island of Antarctica. It's crazy that it's been done so many times. It's been so many times that it only takes a few hours of research and you should be able to find out that there's a 24-hour sun and that you can cross Antarctica. Now, it hasn't been that way for the past decade. For about 8 years now, they hid the information. It was online, but it was shadow banned. Just like my YouTube channel that I am not allowed to sign into, but everybody else got theirs back. I haven't got mine back. I've tried. I asked it again. I said, hey, I won't break your law. So I can still click onto it on Google Chrome and I can see on the top right my profile picture. But when I try to sign into that, it says you're not allowed to sign in. So my channel is there, just like all the information was there that you can cross Antarctica and all the different flights and all the different people that have did it and all their footage and all the 24-hour sun footage, all this stuff that Will Duffy had has always been. It's always been there. They just hid it. Now they've put it back online and anyone can easily go and investigate that Witsit gets shit, D. Murphy drinking piss, Mark Sargent, DJ Curious, they're all wrong. They've all come out here and they're all repeating disinformation that was set up for Will Duffy to come here and debunk and say, therefore, you live on a globe.
Absolutely. I think this is pretty much it.
Kind, and it's illegal to even try to do it.
It doesn't get much more clear than that.
So he wants to make the point that these flights like this have taken place. And yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. And that works on a flat earth. This is absolutely no proof of being on a spinning ball. And I absolutely laugh when I look at these graphics because
This is his proof.
this is 2025 and this is what he has to show, this fake universe with this CGI earth. None of this is real. If this was real, they could just show it to you for real, right?
Show us Antarctica on the bottom of the sphere with the actual stars around it on Earth. Why are they showing us a cartoon?
They should have a South Pole satellite that's lined up with the South Pole, and then we could actually just see this plane upside down flying around like this, and we could see, you know, the people on the ships up here standing upright, and the people on the ships down here upside down,
Absolutely.
right?
Yes, we would be able to zoom in. Absolutely. But we don't have it. All we have are these cartoon balls, right? And misinformation characters that create false dichotomies like Will lying Duffy.
Yeah, so for those of you that care about how this could work on a flat earth, what we've been showing everybody is that the coordinate system, that's latitude and longitude, that it when mapped 2D to scale looks like an onion. All right, so this is the full width of Earth here, 21,600 nautical miles at the equator. And then at 10 degrees north and south, it's only 59 nautical miles per degree. So it's a little bit shorter to the north and south. 20 degrees north and south, it's only 56 nautical miles per degree. It's a little bit shorter. It keeps getting shorter and shorter as you go to the north until it's a pole. It's a point. There's no length to it, and it keeps getting shorter and shorter as you go to the south until it's a pole, and it's a point. So this right here is a 2D, 2-scale representation of Earth, but it doesn't have the land masses on it. Now, we do have a tool out there that's going to help you see this with the land masses on, and that is the moleweed projection. This is a little bit more of an oval type shape as opposed to the onion type shape, but it's close enough for you to at least get the idea. And so this right here is an accurate representation of Earth. If I line it up like this, here you go. You get all the continents in their locations, correctly positioned from each other. All right, we haven't changed a thing, but you have a North Pole, you have a South Pole, and this is on a flat plane.
Flat plane.
Now, what we've been pointing out is that the farther you go away from the longitude that you're on. So if we're on the prime meridian right here, this is exactly correct and to scale the whole way. But if we will look farther to the west or we look farther to the east, we see these distorted squares, and these things are not perfectly to scale. But if we click like this and we rotate, now we're at 90 degrees east. 90 degrees east is perfectly to scale from the North Pole to the South Pole. All right, this is, if we go to, this might be the international date line here. Everything is to scale at the international date line. If we go to 90 degrees west, everything is to scale at 90 degrees west. Now I can put on a little mask like this, and now when I start moving things around, everything that you can see here in this sliver is to scale. So they were all saying, let's go from like Santiago, Chile. So we're going to go from Chile down here, and they want to head south, and they want to go down across Antarctica. So we're heading our way south here. This is all to scale. We're coming up on Antarctica, and Antarctica is an island here where if you just keep going in an absolute straight line, you'll come across it, and you can keep working your way up to Australia.
That simple, everybody. We've
Did
just
everybody see that?
we've just navigated. We just crossed Antarctica, and that doesn't mean that Earth is a sphere, right?
We'll do it the other way. We'll go from Sydney back to Chile. So we're going to head south here. We're heading south. Here comes Antarctica. This is the shape and size of Antarctica. You're just going to head straight across the South Pole. And you're going to work your way up towards Punta Arenas right here.
That's it.
Right?
It's basic. It's very basic.
Because the coordinate system's always centered to where you are. And so that means that there is no need for looping, no need for a border that you transport through, no Pac-Man, none of that type of nonsense. Wherever you go on here, it's always centered to you. And this is all the land masses. You might think this is distorted until you get over there, and you'll find out it's not distorted.
It's simple, really. It's basic, and you have to understand that virtual reality has a different parameter. It has a different set. It has a coordinate system in it, and then it has your movement throughout the realm. And it takes these into different accounts. And what you need to understand is that the only thing that can be accurately measured is the area around you.
Yeah, this area right here. If we let's make this diagram a little bit bigger scale wise. So if you are at the center of this diagram here, you're down here in the city and you're watching to the east. There's your sunrise. You can see how the shadows are being cast. The shadows literally prove that the sun is rising from Earth and setting into Earth, and that it's not a spinning ball. Because at your poles, you would have long shadows. And we saw from the evidence that they brought back from the Union Glacier camp that they didn't have long shadows. They had short shadows underneath the sun.
Very short shadows. And that matters, right? So,
yeah,
absolutely. So we're going to continue to do this. We're going to be out here. We're not stopping. We're going to come up with new, and we're always going to be trying to push the boundaries with information. And again, you know, if you're tuning in here today and you think you live on a sphere, you got to seriously ask yourself some questions here. How come gravity doesn't work? Nothing matches with our observations. How come we have no footage of the Earth from space? None. We don't have a camera pointed back at our own home when almost everybody in the world has a camera pointed at their house now, right? Except we don't have one pointed at our home. It's up to you to decide which model of reality that you want to follow. We're just going to come out here and show you the ones that we've actually found evidence for to 100th of a degree per second.
Absolutely. All right, brother. Well, where is the only place people are going to get this content?
Well, if you tune in on Sunday, it's going to be on the Rise and Grind on the Rumble channel, on the Limitless channel. Make sure you tune in there around 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. But tonight, and for most nights, it's only going to be on the Yahawashai News Network.
A simple line, it fell apart. It lies out, I'll blow your house. And history, it does them down.